Alright, so we had our very simple web app made with Golang and HTMX. So my idea was that for this time I would actually add the users, right? And first thing was to look into how we can handle the configs, because if you remember, we keep the I guess it's in CMD main. Yeah, we basically keep the data. Okay, it's in database then. I guess we keep the database stuff in plain text, right? So that's not really good, probably. So I was looking into this thing, into this article, and yeah, I guess usually I prefer to use .env or at least environment variables, but yeah, like I saw it's YAML style, and it is quite easy to build a structure that we can parse from a YAML file. And actually this guy created this library, which I think just use it, it's like the first thing I found, so why not? And yeah, looks like it makes things a bit easier to read from YAML files or something like that. So yeah, I guess why not, right? So we can add this one. All right, so now we have to create this config stuff. So I guess the next step is config.go. Right, and yeah, I guess we need to create this structure, right? And then to basically read it from the config file that we have to create. Yeah, I mean, it's also with the environment variables, but like has quite a lot of stuff. You can even set the types and stuff. So yeah, but let's see. So I mean, I would do type config, right? And then I would try to do these nested structures. So structure, and then like here with database structure. Oh yeah, pretty nice. You can even say this. Alright, and then in our database we have like the address, the port, not sure PG driver if we have with host or something with host, not really. Alright, I mean, yeah, whatever, we can say address, right, like address, it's a string, and then we have a YAML addr, for example, I guess string, right, something like this. Yeah, probably we don't even need it, but we'll see. Afterwards we need like user, also string. Okay, user. Yeah, it's Vim was bugged because of this thing, but this is what it is. Then, I mean, thing is that the formatter will fix it. So, right. Okay, what else do we need? So we need the password, we need the database, and that thing. So base is a string. Database. And the last thing I was thinking is insecure, which should be a boolean, right? Something like this. And yeah, I was looking in this one, and here it says that you can have types, although I don't wait, where was it? It's like environment layout. But you know, maybe we don't need it. Yeah, like, see, maybe this kind of makes sense. I don't know. Sure, we could have the host and the port separate and then combine them here, but sure, why not? Let's do that, because we'll see, for example, so can we have int? I guess use the string. Well, let's keep it like this, because it's gonna be interesting to do that, right? So let's see. I would do something like config YAML, and I was using this thing. I wanted to see if it actually works, because it's pretty funny. It when you have like a config file, you set the path. Like, let's see anything. It's a pretty nice plugin. It's like you set the file patterns, and it overrides like the text with stars, right? So it's more like a funny thing. Database. So if I, at least that's what I thought. Yeah, like, I thought it should not allow you to see, like, you know, what's I mean, probably like this should be, actually. Alright, anyway. So if I write something here, it should hide it. Right, so anyway. We had the host, right? I mean, yeah, you know, I guess host is local host, so I'm curious if this cloak thing has a cloak disable. We can disable it just for right. You can say localhost. Then we have the port, which is 5432. User, and I guess it would be more useful to copy it from here. It's like useful for passwords, I guess. Database. And secure is gonna be true, right? So no, like would be but yeah, here we have like read env, so I guess read env reads only the environment variables, and read config reads the config. So that would be interesting, but yeah, anyway, let's do a function like load config, and here we can do like a path to the config, or we can just say that config is always going to be in config.yaml or something like that. Wait, am I done? Yeah, so it should return a config, right? And I guess how this thing works is it creates this config, okay, returns the config, and returns CFG. So then let's try to just do this thing. Yeah, like maybe what would make sense, like from this guy's thing, is to have the path something like this. Like have the config path, right? And the environment variable should be like config path, and maybe we can set environment default to it. Wait, you have to use a space, yeah. So the default should be config.yaml or something. So now we can even use the other method just to use it. Read environment. Right, so I guess not even sure. I guess that we can do something like return config and error, or just panic. I have these two options, and I think that, yeah, I don't know, like for me it makes sense that if you cannot load the config, it's not really something that you can come back from, so it's GG basically. So like panic doesn't really makes kind of some sense. Okay, and I have to actually use cleanenv. All right. And yeah, I guess we reuse error. Well, actually, we can try to do this just to see how it's done, basically, like but I don't really remember. Like, I know you can set the name of the return variable and then you use it like this and it's gonna be set or something. Like if I do here return, I don't have to specify the, or do I have to do both? Oh, I guess I have. I guess I have to do both or something. So here is return. Yeah. So then I would say here config.config path, right? So this should read the environment variables first. For example, the config path. And I guess if we don't set it, it's gonna be the default. And then it's gonna read the database config. So at least that's what I think. And yeah, this is a pretty nice pattern of being able to declare the variables right in the return statement, right? So you don't have to do it in the code, like in the method body. So yeah, that's how I would do the config. And I guess then DB connection, let's see where it's used. It's probably used in a lot of places in migrations, as you can see, and makes sense to change it, right? So again, how I would change it is, let's say you have a config cfg config, and I would say here, yeah, like we made that change of having host and port. So I wanted to try to use fmt dot sprintf, right? It's the same as in C, I guess. And we can have s this thing and d, right? cfg.host, database host. So like the LSP for Go is pretty good. It's like we don't even need Copilot because it gives us the port straight up. Like it's like the LSP doesn't start on CFG, it started directly on port. So yeah. Right, so it's pretty nice. Here we need just CFG user, right? I see it's pretty good. cfg.password, cfg.database, right? Probably it looks like the type of this thing and what available types we have, and that's how it gets the suggestion with LSP. But yeah, now the issue is that we changed how DB connection works. So we need to pass in the config. what we need to pass in the config. So let's say that we have cfg and error is going to be equal to webapp.load config. This should load the config very easily. Alright, and if error is not equal to nil, then we can actually just panic with error. Right, makes sense. Because we cannot really, do anything if we get an error. So yeah, here I guess this thing panics on error, so that's still fine. And the other thing is probably the post controller and stuff is going to require the config. Not sure if the posts will, but maybe, who knows. So we'll have to add here the config, and in here we have to pass in the config. So that's one thing. And the other thing that I was thinking about was, what if we had like an object for a DB connection? And that way we don't have to pass in the config each time. But it's like my idea was, let's have a type DB connection structure, which is gonna have a config, right? And this could be like a new DB connection, and it should be on DB connection. Whoa, it deleted my name. New DB connection. So yeah, and instead of having the config pass like that, we can say DB right, but it's like pretty useless like this, right? It's not like it does anything fancy. Yeah. Yeah, like even the other one, I mean, it's fine, it's just a function, so. But what do we have to do is take this thing and let's change the migrations script. So for this one we have to load the config, and then we have to create an app, right? And the thing is, each time we cfg, wait, I'm curious, can I do, oh yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay, perfect. So we fixed all the errors. Yeah, like, it's such a simple function that doesn't really matter if you use a structure for it. so should be good. Looks like it still compiles, right? I mean, we can start it. Oh, environment variable port is undefined. Oh yeah. Makes sense because this one is for Gene. So I guess that's a good point. We can have like like a server structure port is gonna be like int. We can have env port, and we can say that the default is 8080, for example, right? And the hell? 1 second. Do we need string there? Yeah, I guess so. So when we are gonna read the environment, it's also gonna read this thing. Pretty nice. Right, and now we can say stuff like cfg dot server port. Wait, it wants a string. So then let's also have host, which is gonna be a string, and we can have like environment host or something. And default is gonna be an empty string, right? And here we can say printf, and we can do the same thing as before. So %s, %d, cfg server host, cfg server port, right? That should do it. Yeah. So if I refresh the thing, looks like it's still working, right? And I mean, that's pretty good if it still works. I mean, let's printf or like print. I want to see the config, see if it's really, oh yeah, pretty nice, right? Yeah, so I guess now that we ticked that off the list, we won't add a config. That's the main idea. We'll add it to the git ignore. So let's go here and say that config.yaml is ignored, but we can have a mark file. Really? Wait, empty. Yeah, it's always annoying, the copying and pasting files in netrw, but it's fine. Oh, because I right, like this allows us to see the thing. So in example, I'll just leave everything empty. I guess, yeah. So feature add config. Right, we have this thing, but we haven't used it yet. So let's go back to webapp models and say users.go. And just copy pasting the imports is usually my way to do it. Alright, so, and if we look at the posts, we'll be able to have like a better idea. Let's again copy paste everything. So the table name changes to users, right? This changes to you. And I mean, the thing was that not even sure if you want to store any user info, because if we use OAuth, then we are gonna get like we'll get like the username, maybe the user icons and stuff. So my guess is that it's not really that important to have a table for users. So that's one thing. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I would rather I would rather do OAuth first, because it's pretty, I don't know, annoying to do, and then try to do anything else if it's possible. But now that we have the config, we can add stuff like OAuth client secret, stuff like this, right? Because we're gonna need client secret, probably client ID, right? The client ID. I think those are the only two things. But the main idea for OAuth is we have this, let's say, provider app or like server like GitHub, for example, which runs their own OAuth server, right? And how we can allow users to connect to our app using GitHub is we generate a client ID. So I guess easiest way to do it is to go to settings as they say, right? So here they recommend using GitHub apps, but I don't really care about the repos and stuff. I only care about having a username, right, associated with someone who joins the website. But I don't really care about the repos or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, for now, maybe this app can evolve into anything, but because it's just a playground basically. But come here and we want to register a new app, right? So after we do this thing with registering the app, we are gonna get back a client ID. So that ID is basically representing our app, right? So, and it's registered into the OAuth server of GitHub. So when we do requests, like for example, here they made the example in Ruby, which kind of sucks. I don't know why. Probably the creators of GitHub like Ruby or something. But the idea then, don't even know where that would be, is that we make a request to GitHub with authorize, and we pass in the client ID, which is the thing that we got back, right? The client ID, we'll get the client ID and the client secret, but the client ID is you know, not important. Everyone can see it probably, I guess. I mean, it's still a secret, but you know, it's, I guess if it's being leaked, it's not as bad as a secret though. But yeah, I mean, it's still a secret. Then you have the redirect URL. So I guess the redirect URL, if maybe we can even try to see what happens if we access this link. It doesn't work as expected. So when the user is being sent to this thing, they are gonna see that screen with sign up or login with GitHub, right? So that's what they are gonna see. And if they click on allow or whatever is on that page, they are gonna be redirected to this URL. So this should go back to our application. Probably have like a /callback endpoint that will do something. We don't know yet what it's gonna do, but it's gonna do something. Then login, I don't know, it's probably useless. It's probably for made by GitHub. Then the scope, I think it should be like user, something like that, because we only want to read the name and stuff. Not sure. We have a list of scopes, but yeah, so it's user or repo. I mean, there are quite a lot, but I mean, I guess the email and the username, that's important, and that's it. So probably just user is gonna be in the scope. Then for the state, this one is a bit interesting. Wasn't really able to figure out how we can do CSRF without this parameter, but basically that's what this parameter is for. We send a random string with this query, right? And when we get redirected back to our URL, that state is being sent back, so we can check that it's the same. And that means that, you know, we made a request to authorize, and then when we got the callback, is the same state. So no one, you know, interfered on this, you know, like path, on this flow, and change anything. So I mean, you know, it means that the redirect URL wasn't called directly, basically, right? Because we don't have that state. So we'll see how we can do this state, and then allow sign up, whatever, default is true. Alright, so we don't care about it. And yeah, after we make the request to authorize, the user can click on allow or whatever, and they are being redirected back to the callback URL, so the redirect URL. And on this redirect, we also get back a code. So in the query parameters, will be sent back a code, I guess. Is there anything like, yeah, it's pretty nice that you put some crap on it, but oh my god, flashbang. But yeah, so we get back the code and the state. So we send the client ID and the state, and we get back the code and the state. So we have to check that the states are equal, and then we can use the code to get, you know, the authorization token or the access token. So code, right? I don't know why it's redirect URL. I mean, it's I guess this is where you are sent after you successfully log in. But, yeah. So yeah, here you send the client ID and also the client secret, right? And redirect URL, I think it's I don't know, but it's like another one. And then I guess we can access, use the access token to get stuff from GitHub. But we'll see then, like, I don't know what I did. I just wanted to copy this stuff. So if you access this, oh, yeah. It's also like being able to use the, code from device, but let's just say that if we manage to implement this part, is pretty good. So I mean, how about scouting a bit how other people did it? So yeah, I mean, no, this makes sense, right? So let's see. I mean, the only thing is, can we have here localhost 8080? Like that's the important thing. Like to be able to test it, because otherwise how do you test OAuth applications? I mean, I guess probably should be. Then let's give it a name. So webapp go, and the callback URL, I guess we'll make like an OAuth callback. Yeah, like how can we test this thing, right? Oh, sure, makes sense. Makes complete sense. So, oh my god. Okay, yeah, and like we have client ID. As I said, I don't think this is. Hopefully, it's not. But yeah, like the good thing is that I'll be able to delete all of this stuff. Alright, so I mean, yeah, I had to do the phone thing. So sure, edit the secret, whatever, and let's see what we can do next. So now that we have the secret, right, we should also add it in the config. In the structure, and here client ID and client secret. Okay, client ID, client secret. So okay, we don't print it anymore, so that's good. So yeah, I mean, probably we can change this, you know, so this can be webapp go dev, I guess, right? So that's a thing. So I said it's gonna be auth callback, right? So let's check that out. Okay, so we have to do it in main. Probably the first thing that we need is the auth login something, and I guess we'll need a controller for that. Auth controller. Let's just imagine that we have it. New auth controller. Just the config, I think. CFG. Auth. Basic auth. Oh, it's like authorization middleware. Yeah. Like, you know, will probably make sense to have some of these routes not be accessible unless you authenticate. So yeah, but for now let's just implement it as a separate thing. Like it's gonna be, I guess, a standalone login just for the sake of doing login. So this should be a login, right? I think. Then we might need a get for the callback, so something like this. That makes sense to me. So this looks like it's the basically the request to the thing. So yeah, basically that's how you see that stuff, and then we can get back the stuff from there. I know that it says here something like if you provide a format in the accept header. In the accept header of what? One second. So here we make a get. Like this is a redirect basically with all of this stuff in the query parameters, and then we make a post. Oh, I guess, yeah, So it's like that only comes in the, okay, sure. I mean, you know, why not just try this thing? The only thing that I'm not sure about is how we will handle the state. So golang session gorilla session. New cookie store. No, like the OAuth 0 or something. 0 OAuth. Or is it like 0? Oh yeah, OAuth 0. I was looking at this stuff also. I think it's pretty useful if you want to, but it's like, for me it feels like overcomplicated for some reason, I don't know. But like here it was using the, whoa, cookie new store. So, and then here it was using this sessions. So this login handler OAuth sounds really interesting. I guess it's implemented where? Here? Oh, this like returns a function, but it's like, why not just have an object or like a structure? Like pretty weird doing that. Because if you think about it, yeah, like why not just have a structure which gets the OAuth? Yeah, pretty strange. And you know, kind of maybe makes sense to have a separate router for each thing, right? So have a router for login, which will work in a way, then have another router, but we'll see. As I said, this is just like a small demo for now. So yeah, this is the one that I was interested in. So it's in gcontrib. Let's see, gcontrib. We have sessions and cookie. So basically how I think about this one is that we are gonna keep the state in a cookie, right, in our requests. I think it makes sense to do that. So let's but here is, to store custom types in our cookies, we must first register them using gob register. Like what? What's gob? The goblin. encoding go. Yeah. No, we can try it. See what happens. Not really sure about like what does this mean. It looks like it's adding a how it's called, a hash map from a string to a interface, like from string to any, I guess, right? So let's add that. So that should be, let's say we put it here. So we add our thing, then let's add this store. So oh, it's scuffed because probably it fails on that. We really need to go get them. No, it's really funny how it's like, go get this thing, or go format, just go do it. Whoa, I guess minus u is what? It's okay, fair enough. So lsp restart, right? So now that works. And yeah, here we create a new cookie, and interesting. I mean, is it secret and that's it? Or how do we set? Or is it like this is the session, right? And this is the cookie name. Am I right? So new store creates a new name. It's key pairs. Yeah, well. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with the cookies and stuff, but kind of makes sense if this is like the cookie name. This is gonna be a session that is created once you make the request, right? So afterwards, like all other requests that you make are gonna have this cookie in the request. Like the server is gonna respond with a cookie, and I guess you have to send it back or something. I don't know. So save the state inside the session. Right, so it gets the default session, which probably refers to this out session, and session dot set state. I guess this is wait, let's see, keys. Literally have no idea what this does. I have to see. So I guess secret is like a secret to use in encryption for cookies. So we might add it as a config. And this one creates like a session store. Or I guess this is the store. Now let's try to go to this URL, see if it's easy to understand what. But I guess cookie based. Okay, like for session management, so we can use like any kind of this stuff, like maybe Redis. Maybe that makes more sense. So it's like, this is how you create a store, which is gonna be cookie based, and then you can create sessions. Okay. I mean, somehow it makes sense. So we have like a cookie-based store. That's the idea, and the secret is something to encrypt with. Okay, and probably for Redis, let's say we have some, the address of Redis, probably another secret just for safety, and the name of the session. So when you do like session get and session set and stuff, it's gonna do that. Okay, I guess, yeah, it makes a bit more sense now. But this is like a store, like you save in this store content for each user, that connects to this thing. That's the main idea. Yeah, let's see. Anyway, let's continue. So we added this. We can add this as a secret in our config. So if we go back to config, we can have like, so it's OAuth. I mean, it feels like it's related to OAuth. But not sure if should be in OAuth. Should be like cookie store and then secret. So cookie struct, maybe secret. Oh, I forgot here to say OAuth. Secret, right? And this thing is gonna be what? Cookie store. Should be fine. Right, let's cookie store secret. So for the secret we can come here and have like some secret. It's exactly that. Anyway, no, I guess it doesn't really matter once you have it. So fg not secret. Okay, cookie store secret. Okay, so now we have the out session. Right. Even for this thing we can use config. Oh, so yeah, maybe should be like OAuth store, right? And we can have the secret and the name or something. Yeah, my name. Right, and here is gonna be out store secret, cfg out store name, let's say. So now if we go back to the example, says the name and other things. So I just wanted to copy paste the name from it's out session, right? Just because I like it. Okay, so yeah, now we created this store that we can use in our login and callback. Right, so I mean now we need to implement the actual controller for OAuth. So let's try to do that. Let's go to webapp controllers OAuth.go, and you know the easiest thing is to probably copy paste a few examples just to have something to start with. So this is gonna be called OAuth, gonna have login, and it's also gonna have callback. Okay, this is gonna be OAuth controller, and here is gonna have cfg. No, I tried cfg config. Really? Webapp go. Webapp. I think it's in webapp. Wait, what? Yeah, maybe it's having a stroke or something. Do we need? No, I don't know. Yeah, probably it's having a stroke. I don't know. So new OAuth controller, right? It's gonna get in cfg config. Let's just create it. Yeah, sure. We are not gonna require ban. Probably not require UID or anything like that. So let's see. Why does it complain about that? I'm not sure yet. Okay, anyway, let's do login. So post controller, this should be out controller. Okay. Bro, I mean, you know, like I have to try to restart the NeoVim directly. Never know. I mean, this is like what? Really strange. I mean, sure, you know, like I would do a config folder if you really want to, and say here like config. And now what about config? Dude, like this is not really what I was expecting to see. I mean, this kind of breaks the other ones as well. So in CMD, well, these obviously are broken. But I meant load config should be broken. Oh, what? Oh my god. Yeah, anyway, I'll keep it like config because oh, this was fine. Webapp. No. Yeah, this was fine. So, but yeah, let's keep the config in config or something like that. I mean, what I forgot to do was that config is actually no, like in Go you have to specify the prefix of everything, I guess. So yeah, so that means that in OAuth we have to say stuff like config dot. Right. Oh, and this is OAuth controller. Okay, and this should be OAuth controller. So we have login. We also need callback. So now we can actually have this. Right. So yeah. Let's clean up the stuff. Isn't it fmt? Go fmt. So now we managed to do like the basic stuff. So yeah, like we managed to do that. So for login, sure, like we would have to generate a random state, whatever, keep it in the session, and then redirect to the stuff. Let's see how we can do that. No, we can take this function, why not? Just to see how we can do. So read. This is, oh, interesting. So this creates an array of 32 bytes and read interesting. So it's like reading a random, like you would, cat from devrand. So, like devrand. It's a thing, right? Strange. I thought it was a thing. Maybe they are like, I mean, since you cannot call them. Oh, it's random. Yeah, stuff like that. don't really remember how you can print only like, you know, first 10 bytes, but it's with dd probably. So, yeah, sure, like we read from something like that probably, right? And it generates a random state. Again, wouldn't it be nice if we had like state and error? Yes. How about that? So here you can actually just return, right? And yeah, I don't know, maybe it's a bit cleaner, I have no idea. So yeah, generate random state, right? Because we are gonna require the random state in login. So right, so we have to create the random state. Personally, you know, I wouldn't even use a separate function, to be honest, or I don't know, maybe it makes sense, but yeah, like, you know, take this thing, create a random state, then if it is for this one, from what I've seen, like how I started to like to do this stuff was with abort with error. Abort with error and then return. Okay, so it's internal server error, right? Looks better in my opinion. Okay, then we have to save the session, and here okay, so this is shortcut to get the sessions. Because you have default, but how can you get default many? Okay, default many, and in here you pass C, and how about p.config out store name, right? So since we gave it a name, let's keep it like this. Okay, so that's how we get the session, and we can set state to it. So this doesn't really matter, it's gonna be internal, so it can be a string, my opinion. Okay, then we have to save the session, right? To save the session. Again, if it fails, I'd like to do it with abort, return. And then here it's interesting, it redirects, temporary redirect, and here it creates that URL. So we would like something like this. So see, redirect. I'm curious, can I have a method on out controller, like a private method? So func p auth controller. That's gonna be like this auth code URL, but it should be private auth code URL. So A, and we change this to P. Right, and it's gonna get in a state. So it's gonna get in state string. I don't think it should. Well, obviously it should return a string, right? So, curious where they did that. I think it was a bit before all of this. Where's the auth code URL? Not really, what? It's... Wait, it's a thing? No way. It's authenticator. I mean, probably it's like from another stage or something. Another stage of the whatever this multi-series thing is, or some crap like that. So yeah. No, I meant auth code URL. It's only one. So yeah, probably it's like, oh, you have to read part 1 for that. Whatever. I mean, we are in part 1, so where is this? Anyway. Or maybe it's something specific to auth 0. I'm not sure. But, you know, like, we create the URL for each provider differently, maybe. So maybe for GitHub it's like this. Right. So, but oh, I just wanted to copy it. Why the hell? Okay, anyway. So this would be like the format that we want to have, right? So let's take a look at it. So we have the authorize. So is that it? Yeah, it's authorize. Then we have the client ID, right, that we have in our config. Response type code. Not sure I see that here. Scope. As I said, it's gonna be user. Redirect URL is gonna be, kind of makes sense what this guy has, right? But since we only use GitHub for now, it's just callback. I would callback. Then for the state, we have the state, and that's it. So sure, fair enough. Let's try to do it. So is it possible golang query around format? Can we have like a dictionary, like something like this? Oh, it actually is. Create the map. Wait, what? URL values. Okay, this is pretty nice. So URL values. Is this a thing? Yeah, it's a thing apparently. So values.add, so we can have client ID, and this should come from client ID. Then values add scope. The scope is gonna be user, if I remember correctly. redirect URI, I think makes sense. I like the values add direct URI. I guess here we can use fmt sprintf, so we are gonna have well, this sucks. I guess we can maybe add it in here. Redirect URI. Maybe it makes sense, because you know in JavaScript you have access to the window, so like in the front end. Well, that makes sense. So it's gonna be, I think it's CFG is gonna be just the redirect URI entirely. I'm not sure if it's gonna be like the endpoint, so localhost 8080 for example, and then you add the other stuff manually. I was thinking that it can take that from here, but not really. So it should be yeah, it's an interesting thing, because if you want to have multiple, wait, no, it's redirect URI, so it's not question about it, because this is OAuth for GitHub, so just that. It's just that. So then we have the state, easy, values add the state. Right, so, and from what I understand, this should give us the query. An interesting question though. Will this query contain the question mark or not? Yes, printf. That's gonna be interesting, but we'll see. So we can actually return this. Right, like this is guaranteed that it's gonna work. Perfect. You know, can always run out of memory, but okay, so yeah, I'm not sure if it's gonna be with question mark or not, but we'll print the value and see what the value is. So now let's go to the config first in the example, and here we need redirect URI, okay, and in here, so we are gonna redirect, let's localhost 8080 auth colon, this is gonna be the redirect URL. For some reason I'm not running the thing, but it's not. Oh, I guess I have to, well, first of all, I think that's the good URL. so let's skip it. Complaints about webapp database. So here it needs config. Yeah, this is yeah. So now it's actually running. So if we go here on callback, it doesn't do anything because we don't do anything yet. But let's see controllers, OAuth. I'd be curious to see what this thing does. So here we get redirected. Let's just print the string. So http ok OAuth state. Let's just show the URL, right? And I mean, why I think the client ID is not that important is because if we go to localhost 8080 OAuth login, nice. So, what happened? Panic recovered. Interface conversion is sessions session, not map. The hell? Bruh, I mean, even just close this thing. So okay, see, like here it didn't even do that thing with the, so let's go back to main. It didn't even do this register. If you take a look, don't see that. So maybe we don't need that. Let's see. Maybe we don't even need it. So login. It's still failing. But I copied the same thing. So yes, sessions. And the stuff is set, right? So if we try to fmt print ncfg.outStore, out session and secret, yeah, it's set, so it's not an issue with that. So why does it complain then? So it actually complains when we make the request. So if we make the request, it's like, what the hell? Right, so some cookie stuff. Interface conversion is session, not map. What am I supposed to do with this shit? Yeah, to store custom types in our cookies. Yeah, let's take a look at what we store in the So here we store a string though. Yeah, but we store a string. Pretty weird, if you'd ask me. So weird. So at line 59 something happened, right? Whoa. Default many. Router use. Is it really? What? What? Okay, so set state. Pretty strange, not gonna lie. Print ln p cfg out whatever. Let's see this thing before it crashes. What? Why doesn't it print it? Oh, what? Wait, it didn't build? I forgot to save. No. Should be fine. Wait, what? Again, like, no. That's weird. Because I actually should be line 60 now. But yeah, it still has the value, like out session and secret. So it's not an issue with that. So it should be map string. I don't get it. Like if we say like sessions, this creates a session, right? Sessions many. Default key is set. Pretty strange. I mean, no, the other option is, let's try to use like default, like in the example. See what happens. Okay, so that works. That's scuffed. I don't like that. I don't like that. You cannot. Like, what's the point of using the name here then? Sessions, you give it a name and a store. What the? Like, what's the point? Shortcut to get session with the given name. What the hell? Must get. She's so dumb. Oh, session, it gives you session. Save options, whatever. It's so, oh, this is stupid. And sessions, dude, I really don't get and what's the point of this? This creates a session, right? Set default key S, right? See next. The fuck? ID get set. Yeah, like, how do you give a name to a session then? Like, it's so weird. Do you think it's pretty much useless, or what? I don't get it. Sessions, you give it a name. C set, default key. Yes. And here it does this, and then it tries to get it. Yeah, that's scuffed as hell. Doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that's scuffed. Yeah, I'm pretty scuffed, to be honest. Okay, let's see. Sessions fault many error. And it's something like this. We get we get something like this. So it's router use sessions, you give it recipes API and the store, whatever, with Redis, and then probably he's trying to get it, but he's doing default. So wait, what? Issue fixed. Manually deleted references to this thing throughout the project. What the? Oh my god. Oh no, it's sessions. I thought that but no, you'd get an error. Yeah, I'll be honest, I have no idea. What the fuck? So, is this like the answer? I have no idea. Okay, I mean, you know, the second best option, searching for the error, is to literally copy paste this, telling you it's like for sure someone had this error. It's exactly the same. I mean, it's unrelated, but interface is not. So maybe, maybe that thing with gob is actually useful to store random types in our cookies. But see, like, yeah, I don't really understand what this thing does, right? But it doesn't fix our issue anyway, so it's like it's pointless. I mean, you know, I pretty much give up in like 2 minutes. So I just wanted to see one more thing. So here we do must get, which I have no idea what it does. So it's key does not exist, so we don't get that error, we get something else. Right, so this is fine, the default key and stuff. But then it does this dot session. Like, what is this? It's like converting to a type. So what do we have to say here? Like session not really. So as I said, this seems useless, the gob thing. Maybe they used gob somewhere else. I don't think so. But yeah, so it's like does this mapping or whatever, and then in here in login default menu. I don't get it. Sessions default menu. Yeah, I don't get it. So it's complaining that oh wait, interface this is a single session, it's not a mapping. So okay, that means that if we go in main, I think what we have to do is sessions many, right? And you need, oh yeah, then I don't get what's the point of the name. Like that's what we have to do. Okay, now I get it. So if we use many, and here we do a list of strings, how do we, wait, string, right, like this should probably work, right? But I'm like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Now I get why it was not working. It's because we were using session, simple session, and here we are using many. But it's like, what's the point of name then? I mean, it is what it is. We have only one session, so it's fine. So I mean, yeah, sure, should work. So let's see. So we have the client ID, right? Redirect URL, which comes back to our stuff, scope and state. So now if we actually try to run this entire thing like this, it I mean, it instantly went back to callback. Oh, redirect URI mismatch. Okay, let's print the thing again. I'm not sure. Oh my god, it. So the redirect URI, oh, it needs HTTP in front. Okay. So let's go to our config, and here we need to say HTTP. Hopefully. So it needs a restart. So it's HTTP now. OAuth callback. So if we go back to this and we try to redirect instead, still redirecting, dude. Oh, it's with 1, 2. Oh my god. Okay, fair enough, let's copy this and instead of, let's just copy paste that. Let's just copy paste that. Let's try to log in again. Okay, so it opens up this authorize, right? Whatever. Let's see what happens if we accept it. Let's name OAuth, right? So it actually worked. So if we click authorize, it brings us back, gives us the state, which I think I haven't checked, but should be the same. That's sad, and it gives us a code. Yeah. EF. So, okay. Yeah. Whatever. So the code and the state. Okay. That seems to be working, and it means that in this callback we have to use the code and the thing to do more stuff. Okay, let's see what would be next on the list. So we did the first step, pretty nice. Then we go back to our thing, and we need to exchange the code for the access token. So we need to post to this stuff, right? We need to post to this stuff, and we need to set client ID, client secret, code, and redirect URI. So this is where we want to, we go to homepage, I guess. We'll go to the homepage. Okay. So let's see, we need this, so we have to do the same thing, auth code URL, and we need another one for the auth controller for the access token. Says token URL. This one is gonna get the code, right? And we do something like values URL values, values add, well, like this, values that add client secret, then we need the code, so obviously code, and the last thing is another redirect URL, but this one is gonna I don't know, we'll see how we can pass this one. I was thinking maybe it makes sense to have the endpoint only and add slash auth slash callback or whatever, but it's better to have it like a single string because you can copy paste it from here and you don't get any errors. So maybe we want here another string for like home, whatever, and we get back this stuff. But no, would be nicer to get it in JSON. So this is the URL, right? So let's return fmt s print f, this guy, question mark %s and query. So yeah, now this gives us the access token URL. Okay, so let's see, for example, in how they did this stuff. Is that we need to take the session, right? We need to check the states. That's the first thing that we need to do. So we need to take the session the same way we take it here, right? We use C. Then we take the state from the query, we compare it with the state that we saved here, and as usual, I mean, this one makes complete sense to use string because whatever. Can I do abort? Oh, yeah, okay. Exchange, that's so let's actually make the token URL. So URL is gonna be access token URL. We should give it query code, right? Whatever. We need to make Oh, so we can redirect to stuff. Wait, what? Oh, I guess we don't even need to pass this. Or do we? Oh yeah, it's not required. Okay, perfect. Then it means that we don't even need it. So we can handle that ourselves. Okay, so we have the URL, right? So let's see how we can golang make post request. Yeah. So bruh. Oh, almost here. Oh, HTTP GET. Is it that simple? Go HTTP post, but I want some headers. Oh, pretty simple. So let's make a new request, I guess. A new request. Right, make a new post request to this URL and body. We don't really have a body. I mean, this is our input parameters, but feels like they are input parameters as in oh, I closed that one. Whatever. It feels like they are input parameters. Oh, wait, what? Send the code to the backend. Okay, and they are basically parameters. Yeah, so anyway, let's see, because I mean, we don't have anything in the body. Can we say something like bytes empty? Oh, what for that? Oh, it's byte or what? I do like this. I want like an empty stuff. Okay, so if the error is not nil, then we can do some. I guess internal server error makes sense. I couldn't create the error for some reason. Then we can add headers. Let's say that we need accept here. Accept. So if we take a look at this, we can actually just use this. Right. We want to accept and accept encoding. Not sure though. It says, oh, just accept. Okay, then we use just accept. I guess just make the request. Let's see how we send it. So client, we also need the client. So we need a client, right? We make the request and we get the response. This is the first time I see resp. Usually you do response. Okay. Interesting, we can defer that. Alright, so again, we can, do this stuff. Whoa, that sucks. Oh, this is weird. Okay, anyway. So, I mean, the drill. It's an internal server error, probably. So now we have to read the request. So let's see, response, whatever. Then we can actually read it, looks like. But what's I mean, let's see. Can we do something like text? Not really. Okay, so we have to read it like a file. Okay, response body, and as usual we return if there is an error. So now body is what? Body is bytes. Can we do string body? Cannot use string body. Oh, so text. But what I would actually do, so this thing looks like it returns the access token, the scope, and the token type. So yeah, now that we have the token, we can do whatever with it. So this point we are done, right? So basically with that. So in here what they do, I guess, is some other stuff, verify ID token and claims and save. Well, I guess at this point we can save something in the database. I wouldn't really save the token, although I don't know. It's like in best practices in here, something. It says to not do too many calls like authorize. I don't know, like here maybe it says. Yeah, storing client secret. What? This is not important. We store it in plain text because that's how gigachats do it. Well, something like this. We should encrypt the tokens. Oh. Okay, whatever, it's like yeah, bros, sure dude, sure. Well, we'll plan security breaches in our what? It's deprecated. Your mom is deprecated. Okay. So yeah. Basically we have these models, right, which are pretty interesting. So let's actually take one of these and do OAuth.go. And inside of OAuth, we need a new model. This one is gonna be Jesus. Where is it? Where is... Bro, I lost it. Okay, it's here. It's access token. So we have... It's not a table, but it's like access token, right? And let's call it token or whatever. So we don't need ban. We don't need this. What we actually want is access token, which is gonna come from JSON, right? Access token, we'll have scope, right? Scope, and probably token type, which is also string. So wait, it's a token type. So this is how our token response, I guess, token response should look like, something like this. So now we can, well, I would like to see, go back in posts, because, oh, here we bind it. Okay, so, oh, wait, then this is not real. So how can we parse the JSON from a string? Golang parse JSON from string. So it's encoding JSON. Okay, encoding JSON, right? So then we say something like token, or I guess, yeah, I mean token response, whatever is gonna be JSON unmarshal. Oh, so we can use models token response. So we can do unmarshal body token. This can return an error. So again, if we have an error, and we just say that we got an error. And if we take a look back at this example, we can redirect on the home page, I guess, something like that. No, the token is not used, but we can just fmt.println token in the best idea, but let's see what happens if I log in. So it brought me on the homepage because I accepted already the thing. So it means that we are logged in by GitHub. And okay, this is the secret, so go ahead and hack me, probably. I mean, you know, it's just a joke, because if we refresh this, it's gonna say that we have one user, and I can just revoke all users tokens. So now if I actually go back to OAuth login, I should see again this page. So I can authorize and I get back on this. And yeah, I don't know what this is. We have another random print somewhere here. So it's only one. But we have another random print somewhere in the code. Println. Not necessarily. This is strange because what's this? It's oh, it's part of the URL. Yeah, it's the URL. I was like, what the hell is that? Okay, so I mean, it seems like it's working. So probably the next step would be to somehow save this token somewhere. I mean, I would say that, not sure where to save it. Because I think these tokens expire after some time, so alright, like that's the idea. But I don't see this thing saying that you get a refresh token. So I don't know though. But yeah, as I said, like the next step would be to somehow save this token, and based on the token to get the name and email stuff, to be able to put like the author name in the post, something like that. And like I guess all users will be able to see all the posts, or maybe have like a following system where you can see only posts from followed people. So something like that. We are basically redoing Facebook. Yeah. But I guess, yeah, that's pretty much all for today. So we'll see in the next one.